Hi, welcome back to another episode of Three Guys, One Mic. I'm Aaron, joined by my two co-hosts,
William.
Jeremiah.
and today we're going to be talking about the historic Super Wildcard weekend. And we're going to start off, actually we're going to give our predictions for the divisional games next week too. And we're going to start off with the Bills-Colts game. As you all know, the Bills won 27-24. And I'm going to let my co-hosts do some of their talking, give some of their points on what they thought. Let's start off with Jeremiah.
Alrighty, so let me start off with that Bills game, huh? Big thing for me, the big thing here was the dog in me, right? So for Josh Allen, right, he's always had that dog in him, but he's never quite won the big game, right? Last year he loses to Kansas City. This year he finally got over that hump, right? So for me, Josh Allen, 26-35, 324 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He went along with 11 rushes for 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. I say this quite frankly, I say this a lot. People forget he's 6'6", 235. He's a big man, all right? He could run a lot, okay? He could run a lot, and he's going to use that to his advantage, right? Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, right? And that's wide receiver number one numbers, right? Yeah. Cole Beasley, 7 catches, 57 yards, right? Gabriel Davis, right? He's a rookie. He's out of UCF. 4 catches, 85 yards. And some of those were toe taps. Some of those were not easy catches. Those are contested catches. For me, this game, it's a commanding win for the Bills. You know what I mean? The Bills got it done first time since we were born. They won a playoff game, right? They have no run game. Zach Moss got injured. Now, they already had they had no run game to begin with. Now it's even worse, right? How they gonna win against the Ravens? I don't know. I'm not in that position. They don't pay me for it. But I can tell you this. I don't know if the Ravens have 3 good corners to cover all these receivers.
They have 2.
And that's my take on this game.
You're going next, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some points about this game. I was wrong about Josh Allen. I said you got to keep him in the pocket, but clearly he's not just a pocket passer. He can throw on the run. And the Colts just couldn't keep up with the wide receivers this game. It was pretty obvious to watch. They had some trouble with Gabriel Davis, Cole Beasley, and Stephon Diggs. And I have to give Josh Allen credit. He was spreading the ball a lot this game. Showed us why he's an MVP candidate, and to some should be winning the MVP over Rodgers and Mahomes. But I will say this: I do like the Colts in the future. They figure out the quarterback situation. I think they have a bright young future, and Jonathan Taylor, Naheem Hines,
Pittman was going off.
Pittman was going off. Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell was out for the year. But I can't wait to see the Bills-Ravens next week.
Yeah.
Well, after this game, I felt good about the Bills. They're who we thought they were, right?
Yeah.
But just a little bit. I felt a little bit worse about them after this game. Just a little bit worse. Here's why. When I'm watching this game, it was 10-7. Josh Allen did his thing when it was 10-7. He took over, led that drive to score to go into halftime. But he took the ball over after a turnover on downs in the on the goal line, right? I say if you're the Colts, you have to kick that field goal. You have to take the points. And then when you try to execute the 4th and goal, Pittman dropped it in the end zone.
Yeah.
That should have been points right there. I also think Rivers missed a key third down to Pittman in the 3rd quarter that was behind him. That could have gotten him into the end zone or a first down. Also, Blankenship, who missed 2 field goals last week, missed a field goal this week.
Hope they fuck all his Legos up, bro.
So, I still think the Bills are a great team. I still see them as top 2 team in the AFC, but it's just I don't know. I feel a little bit less. I feel like the Colts lost this game, but also credit to the Bills for playing great.
Yeah. All right, Lamar, what's the next game?
About next week. Washington versus Tampa Bay. So let's go ahead and hear what you have to say about this one, Maya.
Alrighty. For me, big thing, game was closer than it should have been. No Alex Smith, right? Was it Taylor Heineke, right? Fuck is that guy? we all know who that guy is now, right?
Yeah.
Now, he torched this Tampa Bay defense, which, they're not very good, I'll give you that. But they're still professionals, right? They still have Pro Bowlers on the defensive line, right? He torched them for 300 yards to go along with 46 rushes for a touch, 46 rushing yards for 1 touchdown, right? Then he broke his shoulder diving for a touchdown. He dislocated his shoulder diving for a touchdown, and the kid came back in the game. You know what I mean? For me, I'm glad Tampa Bay won. I wanted Tampa Bay to win. I want to see Tom Brady succeed on another team that wasn't the Patriots. Always be a Tom Brady fan.
Wow.
With that being said, Tom Brady did have a 381 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns. he did throw to 6 different receivers. Tom Brady's big thing has always been spreading the ball around, and he continues to do that week in and week out. Moving forward, you know, when they're going to play the Saints, right? If I'm the Saints, you know, I'm licking my chops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying, oh, yeah. Like, Bruce Arians should be afraid of this Saints team. If Tyler Heineke can do that to you, imagine Drew Brees with that offense, you mean? With those weapons.
Michael Thomas coming back.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Tampa Bay only had 2 sacks, right? They had no coverage sacks at all either, right? The Saints line is significantly better.
Yeah.
Significantly better. And for me, it's... And all season long, they're 0-2 versus the Saints, right? 0-2. The Saints have the Bucs number, you know what I mean? And so for me, yeah. So that one's that. This game should not have been that close.
Yeah.
You're right about the O-line for the Bucs. In my opinion, they're all of them could be Pro Bowlers. That O-line's insane for the Saints.
But just pretty much Mike covered everything that I thought about the game, except for one thing. Chase Young, he wasn't a factor in this game.
Yeah.
If you talk to how people think Tom Brady's a GOAT, if you talk to him, you say you won him and you don't do anything, and then you check out of the game because of an injury. I mean,
It just looks bad.
It's a humbling moment for him.
Yeah.
Like,
his rookie moment for sure.
One thing, not to cut you off, Willie,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you right there, bro. Like, especially, how you gonna call somebody out and then you get single pass pro against a 32-year-old Rob Gronkowski and you lose?
Yeah.
How do you lose against a guy who was retired? You know what I mean? Like
2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah, and so, I totally agree with you there. Well, that was a good one right there. Nobody got anything to say?
Yeah, you guys, well, I won't discredit you for it, but you left out the running game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think we'll see them just absolutely run down the Saints' throat.
Leonard Fournette had 98 yards, right?
Yeah, he had 98 yards,
Like
2 TDs, I think.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I do think that Mike Evans this game does get his revenge on Marshawn Lattimore because in those 2 games he played, he had total of 5 targets and only 2 catches or something like that.
Well,
And it goes back to last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a historic.
And now this time, AB actually knows the offense. Chris Godwin's going to be hopefully fully healthy because I saw him get hurt in that 4th quarter when he tried to hurdle someone. So, I mean, we'll see round 3.
Yeah.
Next game, little man?
Next game, we have the Rams and the Seahawks. This segment right here, what we all talk about it, will be dedicated to our friend Salabar. He's going through it right now. He's going through it. It's rough for him right now. So I'm going to let Willie start off with this game.
All right. Well, this game proved to me that you don't have to be the better team in the playoffs. You have to be the better team for 4 quarters. You can be the better team for all year, but when it comes to 4 quarters, you just gotta play better. John Wolford got hurt. You know, the Jamal Adams hit to the head, went out, was in the hospital. He's okay now. But Jared Goff comes in with the thumb that he got surgery on just the week before that.
12 days before the game.
Yeah, 12 days before the game. Had 9 completions for 152 yards. He couldn't force I saw him try to wind up balls, throwing it downfield, and it looked like he couldn't get them there.
It was like watching Cam.
I was about to say the same thing.
And they still worked though. Like, you know what I mean? Like the offense still, they didn't look how they used to look, but it still got it done. They still put up 30 or 23 points. This game has to be a stain on Russ's name for at least a year.
And Pete
Longer
Carroll.
than that.
Pete Carroll too.
And Pete Carroll.
I mean, I think you have to adjust the O-line dramatically in the offseason. You have to, because that's your division rival. You're seeing them twice again next year. You can see them in the playoffs again next year. So you have to adjust your O-line. And for Russ, as far as Russ, I mean, 11 completions. How many? 170 something yards.
40% completion rate.
11 for 27, 174 yards.
Yeah, 174 yards. You can't do that when you're getting paid the big bucks. When you're widely known as a top 5 quarterback,
MVP
you can't be doing that.
candidate at the
Yeah.
start of the year.
And as far as Jalen Ramsey and DK wasn't a factor as long as Jalen Ramsey was on him.
Yeah.
DK scored that touchdown for 50 yards when it was a scramble.
To me, it was a broken play.
Yeah, it was a scramble drill. It wasn't like he beat anyone on the actual play. But yeah, I'm just saying you don't have to be the better team all year. Just for 4 quarters, you got to be the better team.
That's facts. That's very true. I'm going to give my points on this.
Yeah.
From start to finish, that O-line crumbled.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Donald had 2 sacks to start off that game in that first quarter. And the Rams defense was getting pressure with only sending 4. And that's kind of how I knew the Seahawks were, in trouble.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, it looked like he was struggling, right?
Yeah.
But the key factors to this game, like I said last week, they needed Cam Akers more. And he had 28 carries, 131 yards, I believe, and 2 TDs. And I think the future's bright for him. And if the Rams vamp up that O-line in the draft, I think they'll be pretty scary for the future. But, this offseason, like you said, I think the Seahawks' biggest need has to be the O-line.
Yeah.
O-line and D-line, and maybe fix up that secondary because I know they have a lot of free agents this year. So,
I agree with both of you guys. For me, to finish off this Seahawks team, the Super Bowl slump for me, right? They're 5-6 since they won the Super Bowl in 2013, right? So I mean, they're getting to the playoffs, right? But like for me, they're turning into the Saints, and it's sad to watch. They're turning into the Saints. You know what I mean? And it's just like you hit the nail right on the head. Well, with Russell Wilson, right? Just plain abysmal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look my YouTube, bro, with Cam Akers. You know what I mean? Like I my notes said they found a run game, right? And the Rams defense, right? 5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, right? We actually called it. I said, show some respect to this Rams defense.
You did say that.
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, and right there, that's what they did. Coming up, looking forward, the game I want to see the most. I want to see this Ram team play the Packers. You know what I mean? And like I said, if Goff plays, I think they're gonna win this game. I mean, I'm talking about the Seahawks game.
Yeah.
And they beat the Seahawks.
But he does have one bad thing going for him. Is the thumb.
Yeah,
you know how cold it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be
he also has another
in
week.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
so that concludes the Seahawks. Man. What's the next one?
All right, let's talk about the shocker of the weekend, in my opinion. Besides the Seahawks Rams, the Steelers and Browns game.
Browns.
Last night.
I won't say nothing. I'll leave it to them too. So go ahead, Maya.
Man, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Here's my header. Browns D comes up big, right? That sounded sus out loud. I didn't realize that. Big Ben threw for 500 yards, right? Which is like, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But like I told Willie this, he was throwing for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
In the first quarter, it was 21-0. Big Ben was throwing the entire game.
Actually.
Yeah.
20-0
And so
first
basically, Big Ben had a 7-on-7 tournament for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, and so his yards, I see through that, right? He still had 4 interceptions. Baker Mayfield, you know what I mean? People like to shit on him. I've always been a big Baker guy. I've been a big Blueline guy.
Yeah.
21 for 34, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, right? Cleaned that up. He cleaned up his game, right? For me, he was on schedule the whole game. He was on schedule. Play action was there. The rolling out was there, right? Everything you needed from Baker was there, right? It was just like Kevin Stefanski was still on the sidelines, right?
Yeah.
They had 150 rushing. They had over 150 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, right? Nick Chubb was grinding out runs. Kareem Hunt was grinding out runs, right? But the thing that I was most in love with was their screen game. Like the dagger in that game came before halftime, and it came when Nick Chubb scored the 40-yarder on that screen. That just it sucked the air. Maybe it was third quarter. It sucked the air out of the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said for me, they have all the momentum going forward, right? Here's my last thing here. The Chiefs O-line, it's shaky, right? It isn't as good as this Pittsburgh Steelers line, right? And so for me, if for those of you who actually watched the game, Cleveland was getting home pretty much every single play. That's why Big Ben had 4 picks. I mean, they were getting in his grill.
And so, even when they weren't getting there, they were getting their hands up and taking the ball.
And so for me, I'm happy to see the Browns win. I believe in the Browns, and I'm just looking forward.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Willie.
Well, let me just start off by saying Steelers don't know how to shut up. All right.
Yeah.
And we saw Chase Claypool today go on live and say that they're gonna get clapped by the Chiefs. I mean, you don't. Regardless if you think that, whatever, just shut up. You lost the game.
Yes.
Just go home. Just
At least give them that respect,
But starting from the first snap of the game, I knew it was over. Instant flashbacks to Peyton Manning just freaking waddling to the end zone, just trying to get the ball.
Oh, God.
Dude, it was really bad. When you lose a turnover battle 5-0, it's never gonna work out for you. I'm sorry, it's never gonna work out for you. Steelers had more yards and time of possession, and they still lost. Honestly, when it comes to like the analytics and all that stuff, at some point you have to just understand that winning the turnover battle is more than having time of possession, keeping the Browns off the field and all that. But again, I wouldn't piss off your rivals, especially when you just played them 7 days prior.
Exactly.
And then you also, like, as far as Juju, you also have a history of getting other teams mad, dancing on the logos, giving them, getting them amped up before the game. And with this Steelers team, I expected them to pull out with the win, but I thought it was going to look sloppy. They looked sloppy. And I feel like they lost it when they lost 2 in a row. When they lost to the Washington football team, then they had to go to Buffalo and lost again. They fell apart. Yeah. They couldn't like rally back together because they weren't used to losing for 11 weeks. So that's all I have to say about the Steelers and Browns.
My point of view on this is that the Steelers, they fooled us. They were what everyone thought the Bills were, but it turns out it was the opposite. The Bills were what everyone was assuming the Steelers were.
Yeah, that's true.
The second best team in the AFC, possibly the first. You know, but this Browns team, that whole city of Cleveland behind them.
Yeah.
I think they make it rough on Mahomes next week.
Yeah.
Like
They just have to bring the pressure, and you know, like you said, they get their hands up, but that's all part of that game plan because they know how Big Ben plays, and he throws a lot of like slants and crosser routes. So it's all coming over the middle. So their job is to put the hands up, you know. But Pat Mahomes, we all know him, deep passer, playmaker, freaking throwing the no looks and all that stuff. So we'll see how it plays out.
So I was watching the game yesterday, right? And I was like, who does this team remind me of? The Steelers. And I was like, the Chiefs. Remember in 2013 when they started 9-0? And then they finished as a wildcard team? They go to Indianapolis, and they had that big lead, and then they let it go? That's who the Steelers reminded me of.
When Andrew Luck came back?
That's who they remind me of. Started out to a hot start, and then just disappeared.
And in 2016, they did the same thing. Weren't they like 8-1, and then they lost, and went
did,
the season like 11-5 with Alex Smith?
Because they lost to the Titans.
Yeah, they lost to the Titans. Mark Mariota.
That's when Mariota deflected it, and Marcus Mariota caught his own.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
To the Titans-Ravens game. I'll let Maya start off on this one again.
Now I'll let brother Wooly start off here.
Okay. Well, as far as Lamar, I'm proud of Lamar. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he got his first win, shut everybody up, saying that he couldn't win in the playoffs. Even though I feel as if last year he played bad. The year before that with the Chargers, he also played bad. But he was kind of thrown into the fire in that one. I didn't see that as a fair chance. And this wasn't going to go on for much longer. You knew if he was this was the reoccurring theme of him being in the playoffs, you knew he was going to eventually win a game.
Yeah.
And I had no problem with Lamar running off and not shaking his hand. I would have liked him to. I would have liked him to. But I have no problem with it. I mean, you see a team who disrespects you. I'm telling you, as we recorded last week, they went into Baltimore, disrespected them, then go in again, and then go on the logo talking crap to the coaches and all that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. He did his respectful interview and went on.
Yeah.
He took care of his business. And one thing is that Lamar Jackson outplayed Ryan Tannehill. He had more passing yards than him. He had 179 passing yards. He had one bad throw that was abysmal. It was.
Oh yeah.
I thought at that point I thought it was over. I was like, Lamar, if you can't throw the ball, I don't know. And the Titans didn't show any signs of slowing down, but they did. That Ravens defense is legit. When you hold the best rusher of all of football, for maybe some could argue for 2 years in a row, and you hold him to 40 yards.
Oh yeah, it's for sure 2 years in a row.
You hold him, 2 yards per run. That's just. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Everyone had him in the MVP talks. I think Stephen A. Smith said he's his MVP. So it's like, I mean, that Ravens defense, they were up to the test and they shut everybody up. So, yeah.
For me, Wooly, my big header right here was the Tennessee tumble, right? I mean, it was 10-0, and then there was nothing else. You mean like they scored those 10 points early, and then they went flat. You mean they were bland, they were still. They had to abandon the run game because the run game wasn't working. And Ryan Tannehill, in my eyes, he was a top 10 quarterback this year, but Ryan Tannehill isn't gonna elevate you to the point of where he's gonna win a football game. That's why he only had 165 yards and 1 touchdown this game, right?
Yeah.
He isn't gonna throw for 500, right? And for me, like with AJ Brown disappeared after the 1 touchdown, right?
Yeah.
And then, the 2.2, that's not so much as Derrick Henry is averaging, right?
Yeah.
2.2 yards a carry, which is terrible. I put this Ravens team as hot. The Ravens team is very hot. So was the Bills team. That's going to be an amazing game moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, I mean, this is really simple. Willie, you hit all the notes on that one.
You really did.
What about you?
I say, like I said, I thought the Ravens had the corners, to slow down that receiving core. And at first, I thought the Titans were going to shut me up because AJ Brown had 3 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown in that first quarter.
And then he just stopped.
And then after that, those next 3 quarters, he had 3 for 31.
Yeah.
And Corey Davis was a non-factor. I didn't really see. Did he even have a catch?
He was out of the fourth quarter.
He was out of the fourth
He was just
quarter?
on the sideline with his helmet off.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him.
And then we all know how Lamar was when he gets down double digits.
Yeah.
He squandered that, whatever you want to call it.
And Lamar, one thing to cut you off is I was gonna say Lamar, like the Ravens team, they're 1 play away. You know what I mean? It all takes is 1 play. All it takes is 1 play. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Lamar's gonna bust your ass for 40
I think that 1 play was when he broke away for that touchdown.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The momentum
It was just 1
shifted.
play. Yeah.
And props to Little Man for calling the Ravens winning. I had them winning in my notes, but then while I was talking, I like kind of like switched myself. I'm like, I'm gonna go with the Titans. Like, so
yeah, like you guys heard me say last week. I said that the Ravens would get their revenge on Derrick
You're
Henry.
gonna take your personal.
So once they stopped, once they couldn't run the ball, they had to make Ryan Tannehill pass.
Yeah.
And that's why I think those corners are so valuable for the Ravens, because I think they could shut that down.
Yeah.
It was a total opposite last year. Total opposite.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Ravens and Bills should be fun. We'll see. All right. Moving on to the last
That's the divisional.
last
matchups,
game.
right?
The last wild card game.
Oh, okay.
But,
we just blow by this one.
by this.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let you guys just say one thing.
It was. I mean, this is gonna be Drew Brees' last stand. You know what I mean? The Bears, the score was closer than it should have been because of the walk-off
really
touchdown.
was
The walk-off touchdown. You know what I mean? The score is 21-3 in my eyes.
Yeah.
And,
or 28-3, right?
Or 24-3, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
so
Ravens.
yeah, so an abysmal game by the Bears. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
forgot
mean? Saints are right on track.
And like I said a month ago, Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles could play good in spurts, but when it comes to your franchise quarterback, you have to move on from both of them. It's not gonna work out.
Yeah. And my thing with this game, I believe the Bears had chances. They had chances
They
to
did
come back
have
into
chances,
this
yeah.
game. Though that Williams catch where he dropped
Where
it.
you draw, it wasn't even a draw, just went.
It just went right through his chest.
I don't know what that was.
And then the total plays they ran against the Saints was 49, and the Saints ran 75.
Damn. So the Saints
That's all I'm gonna say.
Alrighty, thank you so much for listening to our episode today on the Wildcard, guys. Let us know, what you guys thought about this Wildcard, right? First ever Wildcard was 6 games, okay?
Yeah.
It was special for us, special for you guys
Crazy.
to watch it. And let us know down below if you think, we don't know what we're talking about or whatever you choose to play. Right? Ray Dog Romero, you love to rip us a new one, right? Comment down below, guys. Thank you so much. YouTube, our Instagram's gonna be down in the bio, guys. Make sure you follow us. Thank you.